And he's certainly handing a full plate to our next contestant, Mr. Dave Hill.
Woo! Is that wrong? Or did I say that's right? Is that okay? We'll talk about it later. Hi, how are you?
Friendly side.
How am I doing on time? Dinner. Will we ever really understand it? Probably not. But one thing I can tell you for sure is that when it comes to the various meals out there today, dinner is so much better than breakfast that it's not even fucking funny. In fact, if, God forbid, dinner and breakfast were to hypothetically wind up in a maximum security correctional facility together, dinner would make breakfast its bitch in like 2 seconds, having sexual intercourse with breakfast's face for hours and hours at a time, making breakfast clean itself from top to bottom each day with nothing but a goddamn toothbrush, and even forcing breakfast to dress up in sexy yet ultimately unflattering outfits and prance around the yard to the delight and amusement of dinner and its crazy-ass friends with face tattoos and intimidating nicknames like Cock Puncher, the Silencer, and Irritable Mike. Eventually, however, dinner would grow bored of breakfast and trade it for a carton of cigarettes, an old Billy Ocean cassette tape, and some wrinkled and faded pages from the JCPenney catalog bra section. And breakfast wouldn't say shit about it. God damn it. I guess what I'm trying to say is that dinner is really, really great. And as far as delicious and healthy meals go, it is superior to breakfast in every way. In fact, I am starting to get hungry just thinking about it. Ha ha. Anyway, it should be noted that, aside from its often inconvenient hour, breakfast is a meal dominated by foods high in unwelcome fats, sugars, and carbohydrates. Additionally, it is a veritable playground for breads, cereals, and other foods that pose a serious health risk to the roughly 6 billion people in the world, currently being held hostage by a gluten allergy. The single greatest killer of our time. I would also like to point out that this often disturbingly pants-optional meal we call breakfast is also commonly associated with sausage and bacon, two foods that are not only historically anti-Semitic and anti-Muslim, but also high in salt. Still, whether you hate Jews and Muslims, or simply believe yourself to be impervious to heart disease and any number of other serious health problems, by all means, dig in, you fucking asshole. Conversely, dinner is a meal where friends and relatives alike can gather together to relax, enjoy each other's company, and share the news of the day while dining on much-needed vegetables and proteins, as well as foods like oysters, lobster, filet mignon, and other dishes that, when prepared correctly, so often serve as a prelude to hardcore banging. Which brings me to my next point. When it comes to making sweet, sweet love, or even just some good old-fashioned porking, I can say with confidence that statistically speaking, dinner leaves breakfast in the dust pretty much every time. In fact, just last week, I had a threesome with an entire women's softball team at a Pizza Hut in Paramus, New Jersey. While we shared a dinner that consisted of 6 ultimate cheese lovers pizzas, plus beverages that I was more than happy to pick up the tab for, regardless of the fact that that particular location was no longer honoring coupons or offering free refills on soda. Or maybe you'd like to hear about the time I got to third base during dinner at a Red Lobster in East Lansing, Michigan. Thank you. Before they had even brought out the Admiral's Feast, a delicious assortment of shrimp, bay scallops, clam strips, and flounder, all fried to a golden brown that works great to share as an appetizer and won't break the bank at just $18.49 at most locations. Thank you. But Dave, you say, what about that time you got a hand job at a Denny's in Toledo, Ohio? While simultaneously enjoying their reasonably priced, if not entirely healthy Grand Slam breakfast. And while I fully agree that that was awesome, I would also like to point out that that particular incident was the exception and not the rule. And never would have happened in a million trillion years if Denny's hadn't made the Grand Slam breakfast a part of their all-day menu, and I wasn't in love. At the risk of ending on a strange note, recently, during one of my frequent lectures at Harvard University, my safety school, it was brought to my attention that both John F. Kennedy and Martin Luther King Jr. and also Julius Caesar were assassinated after breakfast and before dinner. You tell me, fuckfaces.